What is up with it, gamers? It's your boy Slifer back at it again. Today, we got a little bit of commentary video going on for you. I'm going to let you in on a little secret, okay? Just for you guys, just for my little 12-year-olds out there. I'm going to let you in on how I became Big Daddy Slifer as I am today. The boomer legend himself, how I went from cringe to gamer, from degenerate edgelord to forklift certified. And if you can take anything away from this video, it would be that life is short and fleeting, and it is much too valuable to ever waste a single crumb of effort on anyone who is not worth your time, your energy, your passions, any of it. There is a famous quote from young Joseph Marquez, C9 Mango. If you're feeling down and don't want to wake up, remember one little fuck is hoping you don't. Live every day despite the people who don't want you to. Fuck that motherfucker. And I have it on my wall, and it's something that I think about frequently, honestly. I want to not only avoid interacting with undesirable people who are net negative to my life, whether they're just outright awful to me. They don't necessarily have to be. The people to avoid aren't just necessarily, like some bully, a-hole, just general jerkwads. They can be negative people in other ways. They can have no desires. They can have no goals or inhibitions. They can, love partying too much, substance issues. These are the sort of people that really are going to affect you in negative ways, as it's very common in this day and age to bond over negativity, and focusing on so much negativity, whether it be on social media or in real life, as a real net negative on your mentality and your mindset and how you carry yourself. It's tough to be a happy person, a legitimately happy person living a fulfilling life, if you're spending so much time on the internet, or in person really, being so negative all the time. It's just one of those things where life is going to have negative aspects to it, and you just got to deal with it. Everyone's got their own shit to shovel, and you just got to do it. And I don't mean it in some sort of cringy, grifter, Sigma grind set type of way. I mean that if you want something done at the end of the day, the only one who's really looking out for you is you. And so those aspects are what really got me to where I am today. And I do consider myself to be quite successful. I'm not some cum-trillionaire crypto enthusiast or anything crazy like that, but homeowner at 23 in this day and age is, it's something I'm very proud of. Going on almost 25 now, and I can say that, at the end of the day, I'm legitimately happy with myself and my life. And so to start back a couple years ago when I first started making content, what my life was more like then was definitely spent with a lot of negativity. I would just spend all day on social media, posting memes, just being outright negative to other people, arguing with people on the internet, just real time sinks of negativity. Negativity really surrounded my whole life. All I would do is go to a job I fucking hated, and then come home and sulk and watch anime because I needed an escape, because I wasn't doing anything about my life, even though I was very unhappy in it. And I got to a point where eventually I just kind of looked around me and was like, if I loathe every aspect of my existence, I could just do something about that. I may not have work experience to get, some sort of dream job, and I don't really have a dream of labor in a very real sense. It's not like I have some sort of crazy dream job, but I want something where I feel a little more satisfied about what I do at the end of the day. And so I just kind of looked around. I did some research. I found out that trade jobs were hiring entry-level positions and that the pay is great. And so I went out and I learned how to drive so I could get one, because that was a barrier to entry. And the rest is now history. There's a few steps before, after, and during that, but that was the basic premise. I set a goal, and I found out the steps I needed along the way to achieve that goal, and I did it. And it was awesome. It was more than I ever could have wanted for an outcome. I wanted a job that didn't make me want to blow my brains out on the regular like my previous job did, which only got worse as I got a boss that was a huge cunt. And so I found out that I could get an entry-level position doing some cabling, but I needed to be able to commute to work, so I needed to learn how to drive. And so I had to start living below my means and putting money aside for a motor vehicle. And I needed to get a learner's permit, and I needed to take a road test and those sorts of things. So I set those things in motion. And then from there, I was able to get a car and get a license. And I was able to apply with a temp agency to get a trade job. And I was able to get hired on through the temp agency at a great pay rate, and then I kept that pay rate when the company decided to then, after my 90-day trial period, to hire me on direct. And that was a pretty big W for me, I'm not gonna lie. That it really did a lot for my confidence, it did a lot for my finances, and then from there, as I'm making better money and I'm in a better habit of not blowing all my money all the time, living paycheck to paycheck, living below my means, I was able to start putting money aside, and then over 2 years of doing that, I was able to purchase a house, which is a pretty big step, honestly. Real estate investment, it's an appreciating asset. It's certainly a liability, but it's well worth it to have security into my own house, to not be paying rent to a leech of a landlord, to be building equity in an estate. It's pretty awesome. And that was just another big W for me. But I think the biggest change of my life came when I decided to take a step away from social media, which I used to just spend all day doom scrolling on. I'm sure lots of you can relate. Spending all day just scrolling through TikTok, close it, open Twitter, scroll through Twitter, close it, go to Facebook, scroll through Facebook, close it, and just kind of repeat. Next thing you know, your entire day's gone. And time is extremely valuable, so to waste it on such silly things doesn't make sense to me. Especially not anymore. And I know it's very easy to say in hindsight, or just, oh yeah, objectively, it's a waste of time to spend hours every day looking at social media. But to actually experience the difference, or to take steps to change aspects of your life is it's very difficult, but it's well worth it. You will absolutely get out what you put in when it comes to self-improvement. And there's no book, there's no course. I mean, you want something, go do it. You want something changed, then change it, you know? And obviously some people's lives and challenges are much more complex and complicated than something that can be broken down into a couple sentences with a couple steps and then get achieved very quickly. But I think the step away from social media really helps with your brain being wired for instant gratification. You're bored, you're sad. You hop on the internet, you see memes, you share them, you watch all your funny little TikTok dancing clips, and you get this dopamine rush of instant gratification. Just whenever you want something, you go get it. And when it comes to things like building wealth or setting goals or changing your life, it's a lot more of a slow grinding process. There is no instant gratification, unfortunately. And we've been kind of predisposed through technology and the way that the world has changed to really flock towards instant gratification and to not really appreciate what it's like to work hard at something over time. And I know it's such a boomer thing to say, but I think from personal experience and from my research, it rings true to some extent, honestly. Not in an ignorant sort of sense where, you know, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, blah, 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 cringe boomer stuff. But I mean, like, when you work hard at something and it pans out, it does feel good at the end of the day. And it feels better than making crappy short-term decisions for short-term pleasure ever. The next massive change that came in my life was dealing with substance abuse. Honestly, substances are mad cringe, and I don't understand why they're so normalized in just about every society. Whether it's tobacco or alcohol or weed or actual like hard scary drugs, fuck all of it. Honestly, fuck every last bit of it. Waste of time, waste of money, terrible for your brain. Oh my goodness, actual brain damage in exchange for short-term pleasure. A lot of things in life are just going to come down to whether or not you're willing to sacrifice long-term fulfillment for short-term pleasure. And it can be difficult to rationalize in the moment, and it's even more difficult because willpower is on such a literal meter, like a video game boss's HP, that you can absolutely be drained of it the more you have to use it. But your life will become a lot better if, at the very least, if you're going to use, then you don't abuse. They're depressants. They will absolutely exponential multiply the headassery that makes up your unhappy life. The more you can try to identify the own factors in your life of things that make you upset or uncomfortable or anxious, and start to work ways around them, or to cope as best as you can, as healthy as you can, and really just find out what it means to live for you. Because life is a sandbox. It's just whatever the fuck you want it to. And it was such a shell shock going from high school to the real world, and just not knowing what to do, because there really is no answer. The answer is whatever you want the answer to be. If you want to be a degenerate who spends all day on the internet and be unhappy and just piss away your life and work till you die, you can do that. No one's going to stop you. That is a very normal thing to do. No one will look at you like you're crazy. You can absolutely do that. Go ahead. Or you can, you can find what it really means to live, what you live for, the things you enjoy, and spend it with people that it's worth spending with. You have a finite amount of hours to do things. It's definitely not worth spent pissing away loathing. It's definitely not worth being spent just grinding away at a job. You'll find anyone on their deathbed and they'll tell you they wish they worked less. This isn't a Sigma grind set sort of fix. But what I can tell you is that you should really look inwards and find what makes you happy and the sort of things you find worth working towards. For me, the idea of getting a job that didn't make me want to blow my brains out was really important, because I was so unhappy at the time. And getting a house and a car really set me up for what I thought that I want in my life, which was to build a happy, healthy environment to start a family and live a happy life that way. And so when I had these ideas of concepts that I wanted, I set up goals, both long-term and short-term, that I could achieve to set up for that. And I think alongside setting goals in life, because life is so crazy and unpredictable and life comes at you so fast, is that setting just core values of how you want to live your life and the person you want to be, even if it's not who you are now, who you want to be, is very important. Because it's never worth comparing yourself to others, because everyone comes from different backgrounds at different times. And it's like apples to oranges. You just can't do it. But what you can do, and what is accurate, is comparing yourself to who you were yesterday and who you were the day before that. And even if you aren't some self-improvement savvy, happy person, I mean, you can throw the towel in now because you haven't got there yet and you feel by this age you should have been able to do it. Or you can be someone who sticks it out and who does it. And even if it takes you a year, well, 1 year from now, do you want to still be miserable, or do you want to be someone who achieved what they wanted to and is happy now? And it's tough. There's going to be steps forward and steps back, but it's totally worth it. It's totally possible, and I really recommend it for you because I want the best for all of you. And I feel like you should want the best for yourselves as well. And so, if you set up core principles of the kind of person you want to be, it's very easy to kind of let the rest of your life fall into place like that, because no one really knows what they're doing or where they're going. It's very difficult to plan that. You can find just about any adult there is, no matter how successful, and you ask them where they're going, what they're doing. I mean, who the fuck knows, Life's this crazy mystical thing, and sometimes you go out like a buster. And that's okay, because you're just living life. That's part of it. And you can hear good advice or bad advice and advice in general, life lessons all day, every day, but It really comes down to just living life and experiences before you can really soak it all in and appreciate just what it means to be alive. So if you can take anything away from this, it's don't surround yourself with negativity. Oh god, what's the cringe ass quote that people like Ty Lopez sell? It's your network is your net worth. That's what it is. Surround yourself with other optimistic people, not toxic positivity. People who are positive about people making negative decisions and being okay with where they are in life, but people who just have a general positive outlook on life, that are striving to improve, that have goals, that have hobbies and interests that are a pleasure to be around. Find those people. Hold them close. Don't overwork yourself. Set core values for who you want to be as a person. Do you want to be someone who's kind, empathetic, who brings the grocery cart back and doesn't just leave it in the middle of a parking lot? Little things like that, and big things like, I want to be able to retire and support a family, and I want to be able to create generational wealth and assets to pass on, or I want to be someone who's able to donate 6 figures every year. Create whatever floats your boat. Whatever gets you going. Find out what that is to you, and it will probably change over time, but that's okay. Because life is your own experience. You're living it for you. Don't live it for other people. But just make sure that you're living it, I feel like this has gone on long enough, so I think I'll wrap it up here. It was kind of all over the place, but that's okay. Because, so is fucking life. It's all over the place. You'll never know. If you were to ask me even 1 year ago, or a couple months ago, if I thought I would be doing ERP management and sales for a trade I didn't know, I would look at you like you're fucking crazy. But here I am doing it, and I'm loving it, and I'm excelling at it because I'm really putting my all into it. And it was a difficult step to take because I was going into something I didn't really know. I was bridging little information islands I had together for a position. And I took the leap of faith, and it was well worth it. I weighed the pros and cons. I thought about how it would fit into my grand scheme of what I want for me, what I want for my future family. And I thought it was worth it, and I did it, and I have 0 regrets. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you made it this far, what you think, and I will catch you all next time. Peace.